welcome to Maverrik Live. Happy Friday. And I am joined by Terry Heath.
It is me. I'm back again.
There's a strange beat to it, wasn't there? Usually just like, I'm Luke too, and I'm joined by...
It's getting near the weekend, that's what it is.
You just switch things up. I have people around the office saying, oh, it's Luke from Maverrik Live, because I introduce myself every time as, hi, I'm Luke from Maverrik Live, and I'm joined by...
It's all good.
So our topic today is quite a serious one for businesses because it's something they might not know is happening to them. It's all about shadow banning. If you're on LinkedIn, like we are, we've kind of coined the phrase LinkedIn jail. So let's go through first what shadow banning is and what it isn't. So shadow banning is basically limits on your account in terms of your content reach and your page reach, possibly to do with some you might be putting out there some words. There's a lot of different rules and regulations aren't there around shadow banning.
That's absolutely true, and all the different platforms seem to have a different version of it. If you ask them officially, of course, shadow banning doesn't exist.
Oh no, that's why
they don't do it. But we know people have experienced it. There's many accounts of it. It doesn't take you long to give it a quick Google, and you'll find out all sorts of accounts and stories of where it's happening. But yeah, so it's being aware of it. Definitely, you need to be aware that it doesn't matter what platform you're on. There's some form of it happening. Yeah,
there's a few indicators. So if you've got a drop off in your followers might be going not down, but the increase of them might be slowing down. Yeah. Your content views will be limited as well. And sometimes they just remove the post altogether, where they'll just get rid of it, and you're like, well, I swear I posted something on there, because there might be a turn or a phrase. During the start of Maverrik Live in its early inception, it was during the midst of the global P, and. The thing is, we couldn't actually say it at the time. I don't know if it's the same rules now. They might apply, but if you mention anything to do with a virus or anything to do with it, YouTube would kind of limit our reach as it went out. And that's kind of what shadow banning and what it's about. LinkedIn jail is a bit different because that can really limit someone's personal account. But in terms of your content out there, we had to avoid saying those words because otherwise,
absolutely,
it wouldn't get out there.
There's plenty of accounts out there, and as we said, none of the platforms officially say this is what we do or we don't do. But where people have posted stuff on Facebook or Instagram, and to them it looks like it's fine. You can check your own account; it's sitting there, but nobody's actually seeing it.
Yeah,
it's been blocked. It's publicly, it's not available anywhere. There's a word in there. There's something about the image, something you thought was innocuous, didn't have an issue, but it just ticked that box somewhere, and they've gone blocked.
Algorithms don't take into account context. So if there is any word that goes out there, which like you said, would be normal in the context of things, they will see it and go, oh, that could be used in this way or this way or this way, and the robot will completely just remove it altogether.
Yeah, that's it. And it's depending on what's going on in culture, society in general. I know when the Me Too movement sort of kicked off, that references that towards that, some of the social media platforms got really sort of touchy about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people started saying content that wouldn't post, content that would disappear, that was relating to that, or would counter that Me Too sort of movement. And so there's a lot of that goes on in the background that we never officially get told about.
So it's interesting because I see it on, I'm on TikTok frequently now, just scrolling around. Users will actually change the way words look. So instead of using an I, they use an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And it gets around the senses for them, which is interesting because it means, one, they know they're there, and two, they're just basically leveraging it and going like, okay, we'll just still use the same content, but we're going to put it out there, which is strange because you'd think they would start picking up on that and then adding those into their filters. But it's hard when it comes to conversations, some of the Me Too movement. There was a lot of, there was a big controversy on YouTube actually had itself, where anything that mentioned LGBT was getting pushed down, regardless of what the topic was, regardless of what the content was. They were getting those views stifled. And it's quite hard because I think they're still working out the algorithms because, like we said, the algorithms don't care.
Yeah.
They're just basically robots that tells you this means this, which is why we don't talk about don't use certain words when we're discussing things, especially on a live.
Yeah.
So how can companies avoid getting shadow banned?
How? One of some of it, to be honest, is learning through trial and error.
Yeah.
There are times, I know myself, even on LinkedIn, where probably the least evident shadow banning is going on, is, you know, finding a post that you put up 2 weeks ago, suddenly now the image has been blocked and removed. People, you can see it, but it's not publicly available because there was something in the image, and you sort of learn what it is. It does force you to sort of play a little bit more middle of the road, because to stay safe and not get it blocked or get it taken down or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you've got real extreme views on something, you might have to temper it a little bit. It just means you need to be a little bit more crafted in the way you use the language, the way you express it, to still communicate the points without being, you know, a sensationalist.
Yeah, it's trying to work around the shock jocks out there who will say things literally just to get the views and arguments in those comments. I think that's probably one of the reasons why they do it. But yeah, knowing the causes and knowing why it's happening is probably the biggest thing you can do. Like, take a look around, you know, keep a ear to the ground about what's happening. And then that's a good way of, you know, trying to avoid it.
It's worth doing the research, you know, doing a quick Google on the different platforms, because it doesn't take long before you're reading about what's happening on Instagram, what's happening on Facebook, what's happening. You mentioned TikTok earlier. TikTok's where that conversation's happening the most at the moment about shadow banning, all the different things, and just learning from other people's experiences and then avoiding them yourself.
You was actually hit with an actual ban when LinkedIn's own platform decided to outright ban a selection of people when they were doing one of their changes.
The recent one, that was you know, to suddenly be able to post one morning and 5 minutes later your account has now got a warning, and 10 minutes later it was gone. A little bit shock to the system when LinkedIn's your main platform, but it can happen. And the thing with most platforms is you will trigger something somewhere, you at best will get a warning, at worst you just disappear. And you're left with no explanation. The morning I got it, on LinkedIn, there's no email, there's no notification to tell you why this has happened. That particular case came out because it was an actual LinkedIn glitch itself. But it was an example of just, this can happen, you'll get no warning, and it's gone. It
makes you aware of the changes to the platform itself, because people get comfortable with how a platform works. And because Vero was trying to be better, implement new tools, things can break, things can change, and, you know, like I said before, words can have different meanings. So, you know, it's one of those things where everything's evolving and changing, and you need to be up to date. Otherwise, you know, you can get those limits on your account, and you can be literally left going, oh, I used to post this, it was great, and now I can't do this anymore.
It's very, very true. And I suppose we probably haven't got the time to get into it, but there's the whole topic of censorship. How much of free speech exists on a social media platform. Obviously, a lot of them are under pressure to curtail certain activities, certain people, certain topics. Governments are pushing on them for being responsible. There's got to be a balance between what a platform can just freely open and put out there to what is good for society as a whole. Problem is, who makes that decision? So shadow banning will continue without a doubt.
There's going to be people who are going to push the boundaries no matter what it is. So it's just not making it yourself. Just to see what's happening, and, you know, try and, because no one wants to get their account limited, because, you know, anything that we do and we train is about growing personal brands, growing company pages, you know, business growth, and you can't do that if your profile just gets completely.
Absolutely. If you're there building a personal brand on any social media platform, to have put in the months and months of work to get yourself established and known and gather that audience, then to just do something foolish that gets you banned, you know, it can be fatal to what you're trying to achieve. So, you know, it's worth just learning the lessons, reading up what others are doing, and just be wise enough to learn from others' mistakes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming down, Terry.
It's good.
Thank you all for watching Maverrik Live. Don't forget to subscribe to us if you're enjoying our content, and follow us on LinkedIn as well. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you again, Terry.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Maverrik Live.